Thank you. Okay, so, so my topic today is accidental leadership. How to shine in a spotlight you did not ask for, because this was my experience, basically coming to Berlin. So, I was originally from Singapore, where I worked at TBWA, which is a creative advertising agency. Thank you. Where I was a data analyst, and I wanted to have an experience to go overseas and to find something new for myself, mostly because it's for me and my wife. Because if you don't know, in Singapore, it's actually illegal for people to be gay. So, yes. So we wanted to have, exactly. So we wanted to have a better life for ourselves. So we were looking at opportunities outside of Singapore to see where we can build our lives. And that got me to Germany, and specifically to Berlin. So in Singapore, I was a data analyst, and the position that they offered me in Germany is senior data analyst. Nothing too life-changing or super challenging. I just thought, okay, yeah, that's easy. It's just one step up. I just do maybe a bit more complicated task than I used to do back in Singapore. But then, I found myself to be the first and only data analyst in a world of creative people. And I was the only nerd in the middle. People who have no idea what data is all about and how does data fit into the creative world. And they have no idea what I do. They have no idea how I bring value into a creative agency and what I'm supposed to do there. So, this brings me to my first point. When you are becoming an accidental leader, you need to first recognize the moment when the spotlight is shining on you. And you need to own it. You need to then step up and go into that spotlight. So there are different scenarios. Scenario number one, leadership comes earlier than what you expected for yourself. Maybe you envision that, oh, in 5 years, I'm going to be in this position, in 10 years, this. But sometimes it might come on Monday, and suddenly, hey, you're leading the whole department. Here you go, good luck. Or number two, which is not that nice. You find yourself forced into a leadership position, suddenly, even though you never wanted it. It's okay if you don't want to be CEO or an MD or the leader of any department, and that's fine. But sometimes, if it comes as a threat, I need you to lead the department or you lose your job. That could also happen. It may be rough, but it happens. And finally, in the scenario 3, which is where I found myself, you need to put yourself in a leadership position to effect change. I was in a scenario where nobody understood what I do, nobody understood what value I bring, nobody even knew what to ask me and what job to give me. So I needed to step up to effect change. So basically, they needed someone to teach internally and enable the knowledge sharing of what data and analytics could do in advertising. They needed someone to set a vision of how their data discipline can grow in the agency. They needed someone to fly the plane as she builds it. They need someone to entertain and dance in front of clients and say, hey, this is how data can bring value in a creative agency. Basically, they need a leader. So, goodbye, senior data analyst. Hello, data strategy director, which, by the way, the title I came up with myself because it sounds cool. But the next part is, how? Which brings me to my next point. Find a mentor or mentors who have skills and knowledge that you need. And in my case, I went to talk to people outside of the agency who have business experience, who have set up their own businesses, who know what it's like to have to build a discipline by yourself and set up a whole department from scratch. I talk to people in the agency who have knowledge internally of how the business works and what value they could find from data. And from there, I started and make a plan and use them as my sounding board, and then began the uphill task of executing the plan, which then means that you need to create relationships with allies who will make your life easier. And this doesn't necessarily only mean people in power. Who are the people? People who can benefit from your plan, people who agree with your vision and will rally around it and will support you through it. People who can get you an in to decision makers. So whether it's the personal assistant to the CEO, whether it's, I don't know, anyone. The fact is, use your people, spend time to create relationships, even internally. And you know what? Don't care if people say that you're kissing ass. Forget about it. Just do it. So let me tell you. So when I first joined the company, we had a summer party. And I was sitting at the tables with all the founders of the agency. And then after that, there was someone who came to me and like, hey, Surya, I saw you sitting with the big bosses, huh? What are you doing? And I'm like, what? I'm just trying to get to know them. And you know what? People are afraid to talk to them. So that's where you actually have an opportunity. So that the past Christmas party, the founders of the agency were sitting and there was a space around them because nobody dared to sit next to them. I sat next to the CEO and talked to him the entire Christmas party and got to know him on a personal level. So do it. Don't care if people say that you're kissing ass. Silence critics and shut down your self-doubt. Just get that voices out of your head. And how you can shut down this self-doubt is to have a cheerleader. My cheerleader is my wife. She has so much faith in me. She believes in me so much. If not for her, we wouldn't be here in Berlin. If not for her, I wouldn't be up here talking to all of you because she really thinks that I can do much more than what I think. So you need a cheerleader in your life. It could come as a mentor, it could come as a friend, as a partner, anything, even yourself. Just have that cheerleader to cheer you on. And choose a style that suits you. So when you start executing your plan to be this leader, right? You'll find yourself in certain situations. First, maybe in situations where you have to fight with people. You find yourself in situations where people try to shush you, try to silence you, and try to make you keep quiet. You might find that doors are closing to you because you are suddenly a threat. And you might find that there are villains or arch nemesis who try to steal your ideas or claim these ideas as theirs. So the thing is, how do you face all of this, right? People would say, oh, you need to be strong, you need to have balls, you need to you need to shout, and you need to show strength. But I'm not that kind of person. I'm someone who keeps quiet. I'm someone who prefers to only speak when I think that I can add value. And I would say, I tried to choose an emoji, so I chose a shark. Because I think that sharks, they are just beneath the surface, but they're there. They're maybe circling around, but they're there. And when the time is right, devour from beneath. So, if you do find yourself in this accidental leadership position, why be a leader? Why do you do it? Find motivation that resonates with yourself. You don't always have to be a leader because the world wants you to be a leader. You have to do it because of a reason that resonates with you. Maybe do it because you always wanted it. It's something you always dream of. Maybe do it for a bigger reason outside of your career. For me, it's to have a better life for myself and my wife, and our baby girl who's coming in June. Maybe do it for the woman who comes after you. So I moved here to Berlin from Singapore, and I brought my friend Aisha with me. And sometimes I think in situations where it's quite tough, and I sometimes say, do it for Aisha. Maybe do it to prove others wrong. Maybe do it for money. Who cares? Whatever. You do you. And that, my friends, is how you can become the human form of the 100 emoji. Thank you.